All right, what's going on, everybody? Hello, Blitz Nation. We're live. KSA Kris here, the Real Estate Blitz, and as you know, we're on a mission. Really excited today. I got Michael Hellickson, owner of one of the fastest-growing coaching and consulting companies on the planet. I'm actually a huge fan. I would even say out in our area, which is Temecula and San Diego, the biggest and baddest and most productive teams are actually on Club Wealth. That's the best part. Like, so to me, it's not one of those things where I'm just like pitching this guy because I know him and I like him, but I see what actually comes from it. So I'm really excited about it. I'm a firm believer. I've said it before on the Real Estate Blitz. If you're not going to get coaching, at least mentorship or something, but coaching should absolutely be in the equation. But this is what's interesting. I'm not really even going to talk about coaching when we go through this. I want to talk about some unique stuff here today. So we're going to get to that. But let's just go ahead and get cooking right now because we got a limited amount of time and I don't want to hold Michael up, and we're already late when we started because we were talking on the sidebar. So Michael, real quick, for the people that don't know you, introduce yourself real quick and tell us what you're all about.
Well, sure. No, first of all, I appreciate you having me on. Seriously, thank you.
Yeah, I love it.
No, super glad to be here. And, ultimately, I think really all people need to know about me is I sold real estate for just over 26 years, something like that. And, ran a team and had really good success with our team. We were very consistently listing and selling just over 100, actually well over 100 homes a month. At one point in time, we had 750 listings in active and pending status.
That's the way to do it.
It was busy. It was busy. And about half that was REO. People always ask, well, was that all REO? No, only about half of it was REO, but that was an important half too, right? So in about 2001, we started Club Wealth and really started to get heavy into it. About 2007, we really started growing it and coaching other agents. And then about 2011, I decided it's time. Through a series of circumstances, we ended up taking a 3-year hiatus and essentially a 3-year sabbatical from real estate, and even coaching as well. And then in about 2015, I got a bunch of our previous clients, some of them, like Mike Bjorkman and Jesse Zagorski, some of these guys, they started calling me up and saying, hey, oh yeah. And they're like, hey, dude, you need to get back here. You need to start coaching our teams again. And I'm just like, I don't know. Do I really want to get back into real estate? I was kind of semi-retired at that point. And I started thinking about it and praying about it. And I started to realize that, that's really where my heart is. I really love helping people. And I like to see the light bulb go on. I like to see their lives change. I love getting the email. It's like, a year ago, I was broke and on food stamps. I actually just read one of these on Facebook today. One of our clients who 5 years ago was literally on food stamps and WIC and all this stuff, and today she made $900,000 this year.
That's awesome.
And so, like, I see that, and she spends more time with her family, and she's happy and feels fulfilled, and that's what gets me going. So
and that's awesome. I tell my wife all the time. I was like, even if I won the lottery and I got like the $1 billion winner, right? Even if I won the lottery, I would still show up every day because it's in me. I need this. I need it's a mix of anxiety and highs and lows and happiness and sadness and stories. And it's just, I love real estate. I just genuinely love it. We went on a listing appointment yesterday, and this lady has been watching us for the last 4 years. And she literally told us our whole story, and she started crying. She was crying in the middle, at the end of our appointment. She's like, I knew that if we ever sold and we decided to retire, that I wanted to work with you. And to me, that's just cool, so right on, man. So I want to get kind of cooking into this. And I think one of the big things that I want to put out there, you came and spoke at one of our seminars, and I want to thank you for that. And it was awesome. That seminar was powerful. I got to kind of MC on that, and that was kind of cool. And, it's sort of like, I wouldn't say I was starstruck, but, it was one of those things like I get to MC for Michael Hellickson. So it was really cool for me. And there was a lot of agents there, and it was kind of cool because they'd see me on the Real Estate Blitz. But, I think one of the topics that I talk about a lot on the Real Estate Blitz that I deeply believe in, it didn't get talked about. And that's what I'm hoping we could talk about today. To me, because I deeply believe in it's not something I naturally have done. I deeply believe in having a very regimented schedule. I think you have to be put together and be regimented. You have to do good, consistent actions consistently over an extended period of time in order to have success. I did not figure this out on my own. I figured this out by hanging out with people like Lisa Force, by hanging out with people like David Serpa, and you know, I could keep going. There's just the Stites team. You know, you have to be consistent and do good, consistent actions over an extended period of time. So I started living and dying by my calendar and my time blocks. And I think before we got on, I was telling you, me and my 6-year-old, we get up at, you know, he's outside with me. I'm drinking my coffee. He's not. And we're watching the sun up. And he says it every morning, Daddy, we're going to beat the sun today. And we watch the sunrise. And then he does my meditations. Like, I'm very consistent. And I think that has to be done. But almost nobody ever talks about it. Almost nobody talks about it on podcasts. They'll rush over it. But in my opinion, one of the biggest ways to succeed is to actually plan for success. Plan with your schedule. So I'm hoping you'll want to talk about that today. And you know, I almost felt like I'm going to have Michael Hellickson on. We should talk about like these really big, amazing topics. But to me, this is the big, amazing topic. This is like the golden nugget, the golden key, the golden egg, if it were, you know? So if you're good to talk about it, I'd love to get into that. Are you good with that?
Absolutely. First of all, I think you hit the nail on the head. You know, people always want the epiphany, the magic pill, the unicorn, the whatever. And it's like, dude, look, you guys are overcomplicating it, right? The easiest way, you know how I can tell what somebody's production is without asking what their production is?
Right.
I ask them, what time do you show up to the office? And if they give me an answer that starts with about or usually or most of the time or whatever, I know they're a low producer every time. If they give me an answer that's 9 o'clock or later, I know that they're not a big producer. I can tell you that when they tell me, okay, well, Michael, I get up at 5:30 in the morning and I have prayer with my kid and then I eat breakfast and I go work out and then I'm at the office at 7 o'clock every morning. I'm on my team huddle at 7:30. I'm prospecting by 8 or whatever. I know that's somebody who's going to be a baller. And even if they don't have their schedule dialed in to really create the success that they need to have yet, I know that they've started their day off properly. They understand the importance of getting on their day and attacking their day instead of kind of rolling into their day.
Right.
And so this is somebody that either is or will be very successful once they know the correct path. And so, no, there's no question. This is the big topic, and this is the one that
I think it's the biggest topic, and it's always passed over. Everybody wants to talk about the new shiny object.
Online, I can buy these leads from so and so, and I'm going to be rich.
Yeah, but not if you don't show up.
Right.
It's almost like I call them clock watchers. Look, instead of watching the clock, why don't you get in the game? Stop looking at the shot clock. Stop watching the scoreboard. Get in the game. Get after it. And I think that's always, and it's funny because I have these winners. I interviewed Kyle Whissel recently. Great guy, man. And Kyle helped me out a lot years ago when I was trying to do some changes in my business, because he's out in the San Diego area, and little simple stuff that he said. And I noticed when he had mentioned it to me, I'm like, crap, I'm not doing that. Like, I always found a way to justify certain things, even in my own schedule. I was religious about my schedule, but I'm like, yeah, but this is a deal right now. No, nothing gets done until I prospect. Now, here's the thing. I make my team do the same thing. So over the last 2 months, we've listed $26 million worth of inventory in 2 months. So we're nothing else supersedes it, but that's part of keeping the schedule and the accountability, which we'll probably talk about eventually too. I think it's deeply important,
Well, and to your point, so you're saying, hey, I start off, I prospect, that's a big part of my day, and I've got to do that no matter what, every day, a certain time, whatever. I think it's also important to note that not everybody has to prospect. Right. That's the fact of the matter is there's lots of ways to bring business in.
Oh, yeah.
That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is not, you have to prospect every day. What we're saying is you've got to develop the habits that force you to succeed. And when you develop those habits and you create an environment, you create structure around you that takes that ADD that we all freaking have. If you're in real estate, you've got ADD. Or if you're any good at real estate, you've got ADD, right?
Right.
And so we've got to develop this structure and these systems around us to kind of channel that in the right direction. And when we do that, the method is small, right? The method is academic. But really what matters is that the habits are there, that the daily habits are there that force us to be successful. And so, for example, if I'm not a prospector, right? Okay, then great. Then I'm gonna spend X number of hours lead generating in some other way, right? Whether
Right.
it's
Could
online,
be
whether could be anything.
online, direct mail, social media, past clients. Yeah, a ton of different stuff. And
That's
you know, I agree with you. So I think that kind of leads me to one of the questions I had. You know, so setting up a daily plan or planning a schedule, do you think it's a daily task that every agent should do? Is it daily? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? Because I know how I set mine up, but I want to hear from the expert. Like, what do you think it should be?
we've got a whole blog on this. Yes, first of all, it's
Okay,
every day.
so first off, where's the blog? Okay, because I'm going to write it down because I want to go read it.
You go to clubwealth.com/PDS, as in perfect daily schedule. Clubwealth.com/PDS. But here's the yes, it's fine. Like you think about this. Think about who's the busiest person on the planet, arguably, or one of President of the United States, right?
Oh yeah.
Probably not a lot of people on the planet. I don't care if it's a Republican, Democrat. I don't care who's in office at the time. Whoever holds that seat is pretty freaking busy, right? Now, they don't have their time blocked out in hour-long blocks. It's
Right.
5 freaking minute blocks, right?
Right.
It's, okay, Mr. President, you're going to be in this room with this group for 5 minutes. This is the topic. Okay, now, Mr. President, you're going to be over here, and you're going to be there for 3 minutes with these guys talking about this. I mean, it's literally that way throughout their day, all day long, right?
Right.
So I'm not suggesting that agents need to be down to the 5 minute level, but I'll tell you this, that if you are not time blocking to the hour increment level, at least, something is wrong. And I'm telling you, there's nothing, you nailed it. You live by your schedule. Your schedule runs your life. Same here. If it's not in my schedule, it ain't happening, period. Nope. I love it when my wife comes. She does this all the time. So she works with me, right? And she runs our whole administrative team and all this stuff. And I love my wife. Let me tell you something. You want to talk about somebody who gets some stuff done? It's freaking Tara, man. That girl is no joke, right? So that said, she's all the time. Like we've been married 20 years, and she still does this. Like, yeah, it cracks me up that she still hasn't figured out I don't function this way. But she'll come up to me and she'll say, "So Michael, I need to run this by you real quick." No.
Yeah.
Is it in my schedule? Well, no, but it's just take a second. No. I have my schedule. This is what I'm doing right now. No.
Right.
But no.
You know, it's funny. My wife does the same thing, and I actually ended up putting a sign on the door because she's my wife, so she leverages. And I put a sign, literally, "This is what I'm doing. Unless you have tacos, go away." And so, like, she literally, if you bring me tacos, I'll stop because I love tacos. But other than that, like, I'm not stopping. So don't come and ask me. And it's like, well, you don't have to be mean about it. I don't. But you've been with me a lot of years. And I'm busy. This is you got time here. This is when I'm available. So I mean, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, well, that's what I tell Tara. I'm like, hey, remember that trip to Hawaii we took last week? Yeah, that's because I'm focused.
Oh, here, hold on a second. Watch this. So Kim just replied.
Oh, great. What's Kim saying? ...
Yeah, she just wrote that on Facebook. So she's probably sitting out. She's probably sitting out front watching.
No, and she's outside getting tacos right now. She's gonna bring.
Yeah, hey, I love tacos. You don't understand. I like, especially because we're in Southern California. I love tacos. Like, I've been to a lot of other states that sell tacos, but they're not real tacos. They're like, you have Tex-Mex tacos, you have fake tacos like Taco Bell, which is good too. I call that Mexican fusion tacos. It's not tacos, but like, we have tacos, and oh man, they're so good. Yeah, it's the only way I'm stopping.
Oh my gosh. That girl is a taco fiend. That's all we ever hear about. So here's the deal. With this perfect daily schedule, you got to get really religious about it. And
say it one more time. Where's it at? Because I wrote it down, but I want people to go check it out because I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah, just go to clubwealth.com/PDS. There's an hour-long video of me teaching it, and there's also a free checklist. You can just get the free checklist, just follow it, and it'll help. It'll walk you through how to build out your own. But here's the deal. Though a lot of people, they get frustrated because they think, well, I got into real estate because I want more freedom. I don't want to be confined to a schedule. Well, great. Then you have two choices. You can either be confined by a schedule, or you can be confined by your freaking lack of having any money. Right?
That's right.
One, you want to be broke, or you want to have a schedule. Right. And so, well, yeah, she's posting tacos in there now.
Well, I agree with you. So here it was. I did 21 years in the Marine Corps, and a lot of us, even when I talked to one of our agents, a lot of us had jobs before we got here. Like Adam, one of the guys on our team, He made the biggest year of his life was $28,000 before I pulled him out of the gym because I saw something special in him, right? And so here's the thing. You were willing to work from dark to dark. You were willing to literally skip lunches. You were willing to do whatever it takes to make $28,000 a year, but you aren't willing to do whatever it's going to take to make $100,000 a month? Come on now. Come on. You're lying to me.
Guess
You're lying to
which one's
me.
easier? That's the thing that people don't get. Guess which one's freaking easier? It's easier to make the 100 grand a month, right? Because once you fix the mindset, the rest follows. Here's the other thing.
Mindset.
Oh, it is totally. And here's the other thing. And people, I don't know if you can read that on the back there. It says no success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. So like, here's the deal. When I had 750 listings, guess how many days a month I was working? 12. I was working 12 days a month, right? And the reason I share this, and let me tell you, so during my work days, I would work literally 7 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. But let me tell you something. When I was with my family, I didn't pick up the freaking phone at all, right? And you guys, you can do this. You can choose what you want your life to look like. But if you want to have a particular life, if you want this lifestyle, guys, nobody got there. Well, it's not. Somebody won the lottery, but the reality is most of us don't get there without really getting disciplined to make that happen. But if you'll make that discipline happen short term, then dude, long term, you'll be able to do whatever you want.
Yep, 100%. So how should an agent? Now, here's the thing. So first off, I know clubwealth.com/PDS. I'm going to go check that out. In fact, I'm going to make all of my agents on my team do it. But from your mouth to our ears, how should an agent approach and schedule their schedule for success, or set up their schedule for success?
The very first thing you have to do doesn't start with the schedule itself. The very first thing you have to do is you have to really understand your why. And that is a lot easier. It's very cliche to say it, but the reality is until you've dug deep enough on your why, you'll never do what it takes to be successful in your schedule. So everybody always says, oh, my why is my kids. Really? Is that really what it is? I doubt it. And
Right.
I'll tell you. So like if you and I were doing this exercise, I'd say, so Kris, what's your why? And you'd say, oh, it's my family. And I'd be like, okay, but why? And I would ask you why a whole bunch of times. And by the time we get to the bottom of it, you're going to be in freaking tears. And it's something that happened as a child, or something that happened when you were deployed, or something that happened in your life that is much deeper than your kids or your wife or your family, right? It's that thing that you're like, I can't let this happen to someone else, or I can't let this happen to my kids, or because of this experience, I've got to make the world a better place, or whatever. But so
it should be deep.
It's got to be deep. If it's not putting you in tears, we're probably not there yet, right? And so it's got to be deep. It's got to be super powerful. And then once you've really figured out what that is, now you have something to build on. Now you can say, okay, I get it now. That's really why. Providing my kids with a better lifestyle, that's great, but
it's almost like it's a byproduct. I think if your why's deep enough and you're getting after it, your kids are taken care of as a byproduct. Your marriage could be a byproduct. Your financial situation is a byproduct. It gets the benefit of digging deep within your soul and figuring out why you're going to do this, like to its end.
But you're 100% correct. There's 5 key areas in your life that you've got to really have in balance. If any one of these 5 key areas is not in balance, the rest of them suffer, right? So it's family, it's business, financial, health, both physical and mental, and your spiritual life, right? You've got to figure out, how do I get these all in balance? And that means that in your schedule, you've got to plan time for each of these things throughout your week, and really throughout your day. And that's easier said than done. But when you understand your why, and that becomes your overriding value, that becomes the guiding principle, then putting all these things into your schedule becomes very easy, because you'll understand the importance of, look, if I've got my kid's birthday party, I really do have to set that as an appointment. It's not optional. It's just like a listing appointment or a buyer appointment. It's in my calendar. Guess what? It's happening, and I'm not picking up the phone during it.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Actually, and also I was getting ready to ask you a question. I think caveats on that, but I just got a question in here from Sean. It's actually a good one. What advice would you give someone who's new to time blocking or working out of a rut and starting that switch of mindset? It seems overwhelming at the beginning. And I know Sean, and he is going, he was going through a divorce, and was in a rut and really struggling, and now he's trying to get hard on path. So what would you say to somebody like Sean?
So Sean, great question. It's very, very common. You're not alone. Most people suffer from this at some point in their life. And so the number one key is don't try and do an entire perfect daily schedule all at once. Start with an hour, right? Start with, I'm going to get up on time. And then I'm going to take a shower and I'm going to make my bed and I'm going to leave for the office at this time every day. Just start with that. Victory, right? You leave for the office, you do all that in the morning, victory, right? Once you've done that, once you get in the habit of doing that every day, okay, then you're going to add an hour, right? Then you're going to say, okay, so I'm going to get to the office, I'm going to do my daily huddle for a half hour, and I'm going to prospect for a half hour. Great.
So let me make sure I'm hearing this right. So it sounds like what you're saying is, because it's funny, I've watched this happen. It seems like a lot of agents, they sit down one day and they're like, I'm going to make it happen. Like they get the victory pose and they go crazy and they try to do all of it immediately, almost like quitting heroin cold turkey or something, right? And then they go into shock and literally quit. So it sounded like what you're saying is that over time you're going to continue to add positive actions. Is that what you were saying?
100%. Because here's what happens: if they try and do it all at once, first of all, they're gonna fail. Nobody's gonna succeed that way, right? Very, very, very few people on this planet will ever succeed that way. So what happens is now they've set themselves up for failure. So they go about this and then they realize, oh my gosh, I fell off my schedule, and they get disappointed and they're hard on themselves and they beat up on themselves for not accomplishing it. And so guess what? Now they don't want to do it the next day because they know they're not going to succeed at it. There was a famous speech given by an admiral, and you probably know the guy's name better than I would. He was an old Navy SEAL. And I wish I could remember his name, but if you look up Navy SEAL speech, make your bed.
Yeah. I saw that one. Amazing speech. Amazing speech.
Best 17-minute speech I've ever watched. Seriously, it was a wonderful speech. And really what he talks about is he says, look, freaking, if you want to be successful, if you want to change the world, start by making your bed, right? And why is that? Because no matter what happens to you that day, no matter how hard things get, no matter what else you fail at, you will have succeeded at that one thing. And that's one thing you can build on to build success for the next day. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take baby steps toward that success. So if we can give them the success of, okay, I woke up on time, right? Like, for example, Sean, put your freaking alarm clock on the other side of the room. Don't have it next to the bed. Put it on the other side of the room so you have to get up out of bed to go turn it off, right? Start with that. That way, when you get out of bed, then pat yourself on the freaking back. Yes, I did it. I got out of bed. Sounds small, sounds ridiculous. It's not. Let me tell you something. Everybody I know that makes millions of dollars in this business started off with something small.
Yep, 100%. Wow. So now, I was going to ask another question, but it almost makes me want to skip a question. And I want to talk about, so if they're trying to, if an agent's sitting down and they're trying to say, okay, I'm going to start setting up a schedule for success, should they be looking at daily, weekly, yearly, or quarterly goals? Because I know for me, I think goals are very important, but I think a lot of agents, and we just, you see it in every brokerage right now. It's December, it's Christmas. Hey, let's get together. Let's grab some glue sticks. Let's create this vision board. It disappears come February, and they have all these great goals. They haven't looked at it. Like me personally, I do my goals. I physically write out my goals every day before I start prospecting. I do it every day religiously. So do you think it's important to build your schedule for success around goals? And if you do, like, should it be yearly, quarterly, monthly? Like, how would you structure that in there?
So first of all, yes. Second of all, I do believe in daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual goals, all that good stuff. Okay. That said, your goals need to push you, and if I have to choose between goals and habits, I'm picking habits.
I'm picking habits. I think goals by themselves and just talking about them, I think it's
a waste of time.
Yep, it's weak.
That's great. Now that being said, I believe in vision boards. I do believe they help. I do believe they make a difference. So I believe in all of that. We work on vision boarding and goal setting with our clients as well. That said, all that is a means to an end, right? So it's to keep it in front of your face all the time so that you're programming your subconscious, right, in addition to your conscious mind, because your subconscious is far more powerful than your conscious mind and cannot tell the difference between reality and what you tell it to believe, right? So I want to tell myself, and that's why we do affirmations, right? Because I want to program my subconscious mind that I'm going to be successful at this level, et cetera, et cetera. That said, that's step one.
Right.
Now we need to go to the really important step, which is I've got to design my schedule to force me to get to that goal. So if I want to sell 100 homes in a year, and I'm a prospector, and I'll just use that because it's an easy example. But if I'm a prospector and I know that I want to sell 100 homes a year, then all I can do is work the math backwards. How many calls do I have to make to get an appointment? How many appointments do I have to get a contract or a listing? How many listings do I have to get a sale? It's math. It's academic. That part's very, very easy. So now once I figure that out, I know based on my goal of 100, what I have to do on a daily basis to hit my goal. And so what I'll do is I'll set myself up on my daily schedule to overreach my actual need by at least 25%. If I hit,
that's awesome.
So if I overreach by 25%, no question, I'm hitting my 100 for the year.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I like the fact that you said 25%. I remember I'm a big fan of Grant Cardone, and I literally got 15 minutes on the phone with him once, and it was the coolest thing ever. But you know, a lot of the agents on our team going through Grant Cardone 10X and also talking Be Obsessed or Be Average, and it's one of those things where I think a lot of people don't realize you're going to have to give more than you think you are. You might as well just overshoot that in order to reach your goals. You usually have to give more than you think it's going to take. So being able to say, look, 25%, add 25% immediately to everything, that's really, really amazing. I've never heard anybody say that, to be honest with you, not on a podcast. So you heard it here, Real Estate Blitz, Michael Hellickson.
The reality is most people set weak goals, right?
Yeah, so absolutely.
They completely overestimate what they think they can do in the next, 6 months. They have no idea the power that they've got over the next 5 to 6 years. And so they really overshoot short-term goals and they undershoot their long-term goals by a wide margin.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we talked about the schedule, clubwealth.com/PDS. And I think everybody that's listening to this or watching this, you got to go check that out. But I think that's, and prior to getting on this, why I took a little bit, this is really where it gets a little bit hairy. This is where the waves get a little bumpy for some people. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm excited. I watch this. You know what? I'm going to create a schedule. I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to do great things. And they're good until they can't hold themselves accountable. And then they're like, well, if I had somebody to hold me accountable, and this is what you and I were just talking about right before we got on. So I think, so once an agent gets their schedule and everything dialed in, there they are. My question to you, the expert, how do they stay accountable?
Well, let's start with this. I love that. Oh, if I just had somebody to hold me accountable, or, it's like so 3 months or 2 months ago, I was 50 pounds heavier than I am today. Right. Well,
right.
Wow. Because my phrase was, well, if Tara would just quit bringing junk food into the house, right? It's not freaking Tara's fault I'm fat. It's not the force's fault that I'm fat, right? It's my fault, right?
Right.
First and foremost, you got to take responsibility for yourself.
I like that. Take responsibility.
For motivation and accountability. If you can't be dedicated enough to yourself to do the things you need to do on a daily basis, why should somebody else be that dedicated to you? I don't care if you're talking about your coach, your wife, your kids, your friends, anybody, your boss, your broker. It doesn't matter. You guys have to be self-motivated. You have to decide that enough's a freaking enough. I'm drawing a line in the sand, and I'm going to be successful at whatever that thing is that I'm going to be successful at. And sometimes it requires drastic action. But no one on this planet has control over you and your actions but you.
Right.
So I would say before you even begin to look at coaching or any kind of anything else, start by looking inside and decide, you know what? I'm freaking done. I'm making this happen.
Right. And, I even think when it comes to coaching or the coaching that I've done a lot of coaching in the past, and I would say a lot of our success is because of coaching. I think every time I sat down, and even you and I were talking about, and just so everybody knows, I think I've mentioned this on the Real Estate Blitz, because I have thousands and thousands of views about me doing coaching with Tom Ferry. And everybody's like, well, why'd you leave Tom Ferry? Because I outgrew that. I mean, it just is what it is. And I've mentioned I'm a huge fan of Club Wealth. And I told you right before I jumped on, going into January, I'm personally joining Club Wealth because I love what you guys do. I love the structure and program. And I think it's going to take me to the next level because it's at or above me for me personally. And, but it's just one of those things where every time I sit down and say, can I and will I commit to it? Otherwise, I'm just not going to start coaching. Like, that's just kind of where my mindset is. And again, 100% mindset. This is all about mindset. If I cannot 100% commit inside myself and say, I'm not going to spend a lot of money every month just to show up, I'm going all in. I'm going all in. I'm going all in with my energy every day. But I think, again, that's what separates top producers from individuals that just want to be top producers, but they did 8 deals this year. Well, I did 8 deals. It's a lot. Good, I guess, and I remember I had somebody tell me last night, it says, wow, $100,000 a month, do you really need that much? Yeah. Why not? Like, why not? I mean, like, so is that bad? I want $1 million. I want 12 million a month. Why not?
Right.
Why do I have to limit myself? But again, it's a mindset and committing to it and going all in every day. So that's why I'm getting back on coaching, and I've been really exploring and making sure that I'm ready for it with some adjustments that are going on in our business, and that's why I'm going back to coaching with Club Wealth. But that's me. So I think it kind of brings me right back into what I was going to say next, which is accountability. If I hear the biggest complaint out of agents, I have people call me from all over the nation. They keep saying everything we just talked about. And even though they just heard it out of your mouth, the expert, they still are going to find a way to say, well, maybe I should join a team to be held accountable. Or maybe I should, they're still looking. They don't have it in themselves to hold themselves accountable. So are there other things that they could do to drive them in a direction?
So, okay, I think you just hit the nail on there. There are definitely people for whom teams are the right fit for, and that's one of the many reasons why, right? Mm-hmm. Accountability on a team is much different than accountability in a brokerage. And so I would highly recommend, if you're a person that, if you're thinking, I'm going to go pay a bunch of money to a coach to hold me accountable, you'd probably be better off joining a team. Yep. Because now your team's not only going to provide you with accountability, but they're going to provide you with leads and systems and tools and support and technology and all the things that you need to be successful. And they're going to take away the headache of the whole, I've got to shell out a bunch of money to be successful. The team's going to shell out the money. You just got to put the effort in, and they'll hold you accountable for that effort. So I think if you're that type of person, teams are a fantastic option, and you can do very well on a team. I know lots of buyers on teams that make $200,000-$300,000 a year and have zero expenses and have a life in the process. Yeah, I'm all about that. I really am. I'm really all about that. That being said, if you're someone who wants to build a team or you want to be a powerful solo agent, which, by the way, I'll say this: if you're not building a team or on a team, you ought to be, right? One of those two things ought to happen.
I think it's just a matter of time until the lone wolf agent is either going to become extinct or you're just going to get squeezed, because you're either joining a team or building a team. And I say it every morning in our team meeting. Why do people join a team? In my opinion, it is like-minded individuals coming together to outwork, outspend, outmarket, outmaneuver, and out-expose anybody that could be competition or that is competition in any market we want to take.
That's right.
It's not an option.
That's right.
That's what a team does. You're literally going in and swarming an area, and you, a single agent can't breathe.
You literally cannot compete as a single agent with a really good team. Now, there's plenty of crappy teams out there, right? There's plenty of teams that run their business terribly and that aren't doing what they need to do and that deliver terrible customer service. But the reality is there's also a lot of really great teams out there. And I'll tell you right now, I think the best solo agent, and there's no way they're competing with a mediocre team. There's no way they can compete with a mediocre team. Now imagine
100% agree.
Out there. I mean, yeah, it's night and day.
Especially with a shifting market.
Oh my God.
I didn't. Part of me wanted to sort of talk about that a little bit today, but I'm like, I'm gonna try to stay away from it. But in a shifting market, if you're out there and you're alone and afraid, I hope you're not in the market we're in. You're not going to make it. I hope you're not in the market we're going to. You're not going to make it. Because it's going to get uglier for the individual agent. And, I deeply agree. And I think it's one of those things, if you got it in you, run, and you should be building a team. If you don't have it completely in you, join a team. If you have it in you, but you actually want to run with people that are running, join a team. It's kind of a no-brainer to me. I think it's a win for almost everybody. There are some lone wolves, but usually the people that are like really staunch on that, they usually don't work well with clients anyway. So that's just my opinion.
Right.
I think it's for everybody. I really do. I think everybody, you should either be building or joining, one or the other.
It's fun, right? It's a lot more fun.
It's fun. We have a good time here.
It really is. I mean, the time passes faster. You make more money. You got people to back you up so that when you're on vacation, you're not picking up the phone all the time. You can actually be with your family. It's just, there's so many reasons why teams are so important. That being said, back to your original question was, now I'm trying to remember your original question that got us onto this track. It was essentially was the getting focused and totally
Right.
lost.
So basically, the question was, in theory, for a lot of agents, it's easy to say, I'm just going to be self-driven,
Yeah,
but they can't always do that.
that's
And
right.
that's actually the biggest challenge that I hear from agents all the time. They refuse almost to hold themselves accountable. So what could they be doing?
So check this out. This is what I am 6 foot, just under 6'2". Up until a month and a half ago, I weighed 274 pounds. For 20 years, I kept telling myself, I'm going to start eating right. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to get in shape, yada, yada, yada. For 20 years, I've been telling myself this. It's never happened. So what did I do? I finally got it through my thick head that, you know what? I'm going to have to take massive, freaking permanent, unchangeable action to actually get the results that I want to get. So I literally freaking flew myself down to San Diego, drove across the border into Tijuana, had a dude with a rusty spoon and a freaking and a knife dig into my gut and cut out part of my stomach. So I literally underwent weight loss surgery in Tijuana, Mexico. Okay,
Right on.
right? But here's the thing. I had Bob's like keto up, Michael. Yeah, right. Believe me, I tried that too, right? And I lost weight, and then when it came back, it brought friends. So check this out. So when I took this final action, all of a sudden it was life changing, and I knew that was what was necessary for me. So you've got to decide, what is your massive action that you have to take that's going to forever change how you treat your day. Because if you don't take that massive action, like if you don't get together with your wife, you're going to have to start thinking about what's the cost of non-completion. What's going to happen when I fail? Because if you don't deliver the right habits on a daily basis, you are going to fail. It's just a matter of time.
Right. I think it's interesting that you said the story that you said, because it actually was something that was inside of my head here just for a second, right? So here it is. You took massive action. You went down and you had a procedure to get you on the path. So I want to almost turn that based on the conversation that we're having right now, okay? So if that's the case, real estate agent, I just can't hold myself accountable. I want to win. I know it's inside of me. I just can't do it. So then I would ask you, what is the extreme procedure, or what can an agent invest in? What could they invest in to be that final action that will push them over until they could, because it really is, we've talked about this, it's a mindset. So what can push them in that direction? Like for me, the big one for me is I made a keystone habit. And I said, I'm going to read a minimum of 3 books per month. And I'm going to read these specific types of books. And that has changed my life.
Yep.
Like that's just what I do. But what would you say somebody should invest in if they're going to spend or go after a specific thing that could help them actually hold themselves accountable?
Well, okay. So when you say invest in, there's a lot of, do you mean financially, or do you mean
whether it's time, energy, money, spirituality, whatever that might be. So in order to learn accountability, if they just can't find it in themselves, or even mentorship, I mean, what do you think could really change somebody?
Well, first of all, obviously coaching, right? I mean, that's certainly one thing they can do. But you got to be ready for coaching. Like you got to really be committed to it. It's a lot of money. But that being said, the right coaching applied properly is life changing.
But if they aren't really accountable to begin with, it's almost kind of like they're not ready for it.
That's correct, 100%. All right, so now think about this. When we have, one of our coaching clients, just the other day, I was talking, and she's one of our coaches. I was on the phone with him, and in fact, he still has to post this, but he says, I want to hire X number of agents in the next 60 days. And I said, how serious are you about your goal? He says, I'm really serious about the goal. I'm going to do it. I'm going to hire these agents. I said, really? I said, okay, so what are you willing to put up if you don't? Oh man, I'll put up $500. I said, bro, you made $500,000 last year. That's like, a kid buying a stick of gum. So wait, give me a number, man. Like, give me something real. She's like, okay, fine. I'll put up $2,500. I said, okay, cool. Here's what we're gonna do. I said, who's your favorite political party? And I kept it private. I won't share who his favorite political party was. But I found out who his favorite political party was, and I said, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. So you're gonna go into our Facebook group. We got 30,000 people in our Facebook group.
Right.
And I said, you're going to go into our Facebook group and you're going to post, I hereby authorize Club Wealth to run my credit card for $2,500 if I don't have X number of agents on my team by this day. And so then he posts this, tags me in it. And now what I do is, if I got to run that guy's card, guess what I'm going to do with the money? I don't need his freaking money. What am I going to do with his money? I'm going to take that money, and if let's just say for a second that he's a Democrat. Well, great. Then I'm going to take that money. I'm going to give it to Trump's campaign, and I'm going to do it in that guy's name. And I'm going to tell him, I'm going to write a little letter to him saying, I'm so excited about future contributions. Please reach out to me frequently because I'm really excited about the cause. Right? That's motivation, right? Now, do you think that guy is going to follow through? I tell you what, I've done this a ton of times, and I've never had to run anybody's card.
Time to start recruiting.
What's that?
Time to start recruiting.
That's
so
right.
maybe that's what you do, actually do something that will hurt, reach out to or I used to call them accountability buddies. In the Marine Corps, they called them battle buddies, but accountability buddy. And say, hey, put it to me. Put it to me. If I don't do this, this is what you got to do. Even if it's shameful. So we're running out of time. Huh? What's that?
I said, honestly, it should be shameful. And I'll tell you why, because people are motivated by one of two things: hope for gain or fear of loss. And the vast majority of human beings on this planet are far more motivated by fear of loss than they ever will be by hope for gain. So
that's true.
You have to find that cost of non-completion, and you have to squeeze it hard.
Right. I love that. And you know what? I'm gonna bring that up in our team meeting tomorrow. Because there's some big goals that were put out there, and it's funny because I'm like, you're not doing what's required to get to that goal. So you know what? I think I'm gonna do that. Fear of loss. We're gonna put up some checks. I love it. Maybe we'll cut the checks to other competitors in our market. Say, hey, we love y'all. We want to send this to your direct marketing campaign to compete with us. But here you are.
It's got to be the one that you hate. It's got to be the one that every time you see that agent, it's just like, I can't stand that guy.
Maybe even we'll take out a full ad in the paper, a full page, or maybe a double truck. We're gonna make you pay your money to take open a double truck with your face and their face saying, I now profess that they are the best agent in town. Like, just make it over the freaking top. Gotta be painful. Was this? It looks like Bob said something down here. I'll take all the checks or cash. All right. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. Right on. Well, we're running out of time. We got like 10 minutes here. So I want to finish up with my final question. And, it's funny. I don't know if you realize this, but I actually interviewed you 12/8/2017. So it's been a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to see if you're, and it's funny because it's over a year ago, and I think I've done 300 and something videos since then.
Wow.
Yeah. So I want to ask this question because I want to see if it's changed. So last question: what is your number one recommendation for a real estate agent out there that is trying to build a killer business?
Well, number one recommendation for an agent that's trying to build a killer business. Well, I mean, that's a kind of a loaded question. There's a lot of answers.
Oh, it's a huge loaded question. I mean, there's a ton of answers, but I want to hear what Michael Hellickson thinks it is going into 2019. What's the one thing? Because there's probably 100. What's the one thing? You have to
start with this. You cannot build a business unless you build a team. Otherwise, you're just trading time for dollars. Unless you're on a team, right? That's different. If you're on a team, you get all the benefits. All the assistants work for you just like they work for the team leader, right? So you get all the benefits without having to write the checks and be on the hook for it every month. But I would say first and foremost, if I want to build a business, a true business, then I got to build a team. I mean, it's that simple. And if I'm not building a team, dude, I got to ask myself, am I planning on living off my spouse? Like, what am I doing here? Like, is this really...
I think that the days of the single agent, especially with a lot of the disruption that's coming into the market right now, it is, it's death. It's an extinction level event, in my opinion. Hey, there's some agents, and some agents are good with getting by with again, going back to 5 or 10 deals a year. Yeah, maybe they got a pension or something, or maybe they got Social Security and they just need something to cover for their dental work. I don't know, but that's not what I'm looking for. If you're looking to truly build a business, you need to either join a team or build a team, one or the other. So I think it's fantastic.
But now we got to add your other word in. If you want to build a massive business, or what I think, did you say massive? I can't remember what adjective you used.
Oh, I love massive. We can use that too.
Massive. So if you want to build a massive business, whether you are the team leader or a member of the team, then the key is you have to develop the right habits. End of story.
Right. It looks like Justin, that's a great question, but we're almost out of time. If Michael can field this quickly, because I'm trying to respect his time. You guys don't know this, but Michael's literally back to back to back to back to back on appointments. So I
Yeah.
always want to respect his time. So he says, what's the top 5 positions to hire for a team? Now, if you don't have time to answer it, what we can do is I'll get with you another time. I can put up a blog or reply for you. But if you can crank it out in like 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh, it'll be faster now. I'll get with you.
All right, let's go.
All right, so the top position is assistant, right? If you don't have an assistant, you are one. And the next position is buyer's agent, and then the next one would be buyer's agent, and then the next one would be buyer's agent, and then the next one would be buyer's agent. So there's your top 5 positions on the team. Eventually, when you've got 10 or 12 people on your team, you're going to need a couple of listing agents. By the time you get to 20 people on your team, you're going to probably have 3 or 4 listing agents and 14, 15, 16 buyer's agents, and then you'll grow from there.
Right on. Okay, there you are, Justin. Right for you, and I think that's like solid, and I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm going to take notes on that here in a second. So before we get off, how can people reach out to you? Now, again, clubwealth.com/PDS. I'm going to be looking at that as soon as I get off. But how else can people either find out information about Club Wealth, or reach out to Club Wealth, or reach out to you just for questions, information, learn more? Because I know I'm going to get hit up nonstop. Like, wow, this is power. Where can I get more stuff?
I'll tell you that the coolest thing to do is that the thing that I recommend is jump on our website. Obviously, we've got a ton of great free stuff on the blog. But if somebody really wants, like if you want to sit down with one of our coaches, like an actual coach, which is all of our coaches are agents that produce at a higher level than the people they coach. So
that's interesting. So I just want to recap what you just said, because I know there's a couple programs I've been on where they're professional coaches who have never, so it's sort of like people that have never played football, but somehow they're the coach. So what you're saying is that the coaches at Club Wealth actually are producing winners.
That's
is that
right.
what you're saying? Okay, go on. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure. I might have heard it wrong.
No, but that's something very unique to us. We're the only company I know that's like that. But
I think it's awesome.
If you're doing 100 deals a year, your coach does 200. If you're doing 200, your coach does 5. We have coaches doing over 1,000 deals a year. So here's how it works. So if you want to do our coaches will literally do a free call with you. We'll do a free 55-minute call, no sales pitch, and we'll do this once a year. So if you're not a coaching client, you get to do this once a year for free. But I would recommend do that. It's called a strategy session, and seriously, you'll spend time with someone who's going to dig into your business, look for the holes, figure out what's not working in your business, tell you, okay, here's how you patch those up, and then here's what's next, and here's exactly how to do it. Here's your plan for the next 12 months. And it's super easy from there. And I tell you, it's for some people, it is life changing. So
that's awesome. Very, very good. Thank you so much, Michael, for jumping on with me. It's just, for me, it's always enlightening. I just love hearing you speak. I watch a lot of your videos too, because I'm a big YouTuber. My kids love to sit down and I don't really watch TV. I watch YouTube. And I love what you're putting out there. I love you're one of the few coaches, in my opinion, that are it's a straight shooter, genuine, take it or leave it. If you don't like it, well, you know what, screw you, go somewhere else where they'll actually try to help you feel good about yourself and you still won't produce. I don't understand that. It's mind-blowing to me. So we're going to lie to you so you feel good about yourself, but you're still not going to produce, and we'll take your money. I love what you do. I love Club Wealth, and I'm just so grateful that you got on today. So thank you so much. And for everybody that's watching, do me a favor, go check it out. As always, like, share, comment. Now, this is going to be live. If you're watching it live on Facebook. There's going to be live as well. It's already shared out to a bunch of different places. But if you're watching it later, if you want to watch it later, if you end up seeing it on Facebook, go check out YouTube. It's going to be on YouTube. Just look up the Real Estate Blitz. And of course, it's going to be on the podcast going into January. We have all the content. It's going to be fire. We got a lot of people helping us out. So do me a favor, like, share, comment. If you get value from what we're doing, you get value from Michael Hellickson, get value from the other people that I've interviewed, just share it with other agents. I don't make any money off this. I'm not a guru. I'm not creating T-shirts or underwear or any socks, or because Michael, I go to seminars and I see socks being sold. I love socks too. My wife's behind me. I love socks. And Gary V's shoes. Look, I love his shoes. I want a pair. Okay. What I'm saying is I don't charge for this. And I get calls from agents all over the nation. I do it because I want to help our industry. There are people that want to take our lifeblood. They want to take our profession. They don't want us to make money. They want to hit the cheap button and take over the market so they can make a profit without us. They want to take our families and end our careers. This is what we've been doing. This is what we love. This is what's inside of us. That's why I started the Real Estate Blitz. So do me a favor, share this information with somebody if you think it will change their lives as well. That's all I'm looking for. That's all I want. That's why I started the Blitz. I have no other reason to do this other than to help. I don't want to go out of business. I don't want my kids to ever think that you have to get a normal job or you have to sign with some company that is going to give me a wage to sell real estate. Screw that. That's why I create the Blitz. So every time I interview somebody, go support them. Go check out Club Wealth. And I'm not pitching it. Club Wealth doesn't pay me. Michael, do you pay me any money?
Nope.
Are you affiliated with me in any way?
Not in any way.
Are you gonna give me a discount when I come over to Club Wealth in January?
I'd love to, but no.
See, okay, well, crap. I was hoping I would get that one, but that's okay. Look, hey, support them. That's all I got today. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Lots of love to all the people that comment. I love the comments on YouTube. And we're going to go ahead and end this one. So KSA Kris out. Michael, if you hold on 2 seconds, I'll get you when we log off.
Sounds great. Thanks,
all right.
Doc.
Have a good one.